Okay, I got another bootleg design tip for you. I get asked all the time how to go about creating vectors from sketches, so I'm going to run you through that. So there's a couple of things to know. Number one, little fine pen sketches just don't work. So light pencil, or hard pencil. A hard pencil makes a really light line. This is a H. That's not gonna make really clean vectors because there's not enough contrast between the artwork and the paper. So one possible solution to that might be to take a Sharpie and trace over it, and like it is so. I kind of don't really like tracing over things. I kind of like to just do fresh, clean illustrations for each thing. So, just have a little sip of my tea. So, a tip within a tip, my friends. Working with nice, fat, dark pens is always awesome. I've only just recently discovered these, but these Ecoline brush pens are amazing. They give you a really amazing kind of texture to your drawing, and it dries so quick, and it doesn't soak paper. It's just incredible. It's really good. All right, so I'm going to draw one of my favorite topics, which is sad skeleton man. So in order to draw a good sad skeleton man, the key is little sad lines underneath the eyes, and a little nose cavity, and then a little sad mouth, and then a big loop for the skull, and then another one for underneath. There we go. That is one legit sad looking skeleton man. All right, give a little ear hole because I like to do that. Maybe a couple of spots up here. Okay, so this sort of stuff is a really good candidate for vectorizing because we've got really high contrast, we've got nice, bold, clean line work. So where we're going to pick this up is we're going to pick it up on the computer, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a photo of this. I'm going to take the photo from dead on, from above it, and then I'm just going to email myself a copy. I don't need to scan it in. A photo from your phone is fine if your phone is even moderately okay. The one trick is to try and do it near some natural daylight. So I'm not far away from a window here, so I'm going to be able to photograph this from above, and it's going to work really well. So we'll go to the computer next. Rightio, here we are again at number 3 Tree Street. So I've just emailed myself a copy of my sad-looking skeleton man, and I've just taken a photo from above. Now, what I'm going to want to do is just make some quick adjustments to this in Photoshop. There's a multitude of ways that you can go about this. Normally what I do, because I want to make quick black and white adjustments, is I'll go up to Image Menu, Mode, Grayscale, which will then convert the image to grayscale. And then there's a couple of ways we can do it. One option is to just go via the levels. So image menu, adjustment, and then levels. And then if I click on this little guy here for setting the white point, I can then just click on an area on my image, and I've got a pretty good adjustment of my white point, so that we've gone from this to that. So that's quite good. The other option might have been to go to the image menu, adjustments, and then go to curves. And then I can just grab this line from the middle and drag it around. Now, that's a little bit trickier because there's something different going on with the curves, and I'm not going to get into that today other than to say that where you see these spikes in the chart is where the color is in the artwork. So in this particular case, all this bottom part of the chart is all the white that's in the image, or grey, and this little spike down there is all the black that's in the image. So I'm not going to get into too much in the way of specifics there. What you want is this. You want a nice, relatively high contrast black and white. I can also just crop the extra crap off the image, which I will do right now. And then I'm going to save that. I can just save it as anything. JPEG is fine. The desktop. Now if I go over to Illustrator, make a new document. Now I'm going to place it in. So that's File Menu Place or Command Shift P. I could give you the PC shortcuts, but I don't believe in PCs, not anymore. I had a conversion on the crossroads to Damascus, and now I don't believe in PCs. It's very ironic. Okay, so here we go. Here's my skeleton. I've placed him in Illustrator. Now, what we're going to use is just the image trace. So from CS5 onwards, I think, they added this context menu, so you don't even have to go up into the object menu. That's where you used to have to go. Now you can just go up here in the context menu. Every time you click on a picture, it will appear up the top of your screen. So, whoops. So click on my image, go image trace. It may give you a warning telling you that it's going to proceed slowly with a large image. The amount of points that are in your vector artwork, it is important, but it's not the end of the world. So especially if you might be only using this as a one-off in some other artwork, if it has a lot of points in it, it's not going to be a huge issue. Also, the settings that we use and the kind of artwork that we're tracing will actually define how complex it's going to be. So we can go OK. Now it's going to give its first pass using the default settings. Now, if we have a little closer look at this panel, the first thing I always do is just turn it into advanced mode, and I always just turn on ignore white, because it's one less thing to do. It'll only give me the black and white. Now, each of these sliders give me some options on the image. The more clean my artwork is, the less I'm going to have to worry about my noise, and also generally also the threshold. But if I drag the threshold down, watch what happens to my artwork. It becomes thinner as the threshold becomes higher, and if I drag it up, so at this point in time, we're starting to get some muck off the paper. So if we go about back to where we were, I'm kind of happy with that. Oh, there's a little bit of stuff that's creeping in down in this corner. And so the trick with this is just to fiddle around with the sliders and just get used to them. Use them a few different times and you'll start to get a bit of feel. The other thing is just have a look at the quality of the line you get. Sometimes live trace stuff looks very live traced. Certain types of junctions, like this one here, looks very live traced, and I might want to adjust that manually, or I might be happy with that. That's, it depends on the piece of artwork. So let's say I'm relatively happy with that. What I can do now is I can expand it. So at the moment, if I view this in outline mode, so if I go up to the view menu, go outline, I can see that it hasn't been expanded yet. But if I go here and click on expand, this has now been expanded into fully editable, easy to work with vectors. So now if I go into outline mode, I've got access to absolutely everything in my artwork. So now I can do whatever I want with it. And one thing that if you want to try this at home, which is always satisfying, is just simply to draw a box in another color, select your object, and just even reversing a quick little sketch out of white is often a really happy, nice thing. So that was a really quick run through live trace, and the main tips that you want to remember is to use really nice, high quality, original black and white artwork that's nice and clean. Photograph it in natural light if you can, so you can get a nice, clean, well lit photo. And then you just do a slight adjustment in Photoshop if you need to get rid of any of that grey, so you get your nice black and white. And then finally, we open up into Illustrator, we click on the image, we click on image trace, and then we fiddle a little bit with the settings till we get the settings that we like. And then we can do whatever we like with our vectors. All right, there you go. That's a very quick run through of live trace.